have an opening statement?
Yeah, it was a good weekend for us. I thought we played really well offensively in both games. Obviously disappointed that we lost game 2 in overtime, but was really excited to see us generate as many shots as we did and scoring opportunities. I thought we were sharp defensively in game 1, not quite as sharp in game 2, and certainly that led to us, being in overtime and then eventually losing a hockey game. But as far as progress made and things that we'd like to see, I was really impressed with our players and was excited to see, certain people step up and score their first goal or have some balanced offense. So we're going to take that as a positive step moving forward and look forward to this week's matchup with Minnesota State Mankato.
We'll open up to questions starting in person.
Joel, I saw the Mavericks this weekend, 0-6, but I don't think their record's reflective of what they've done. That's a pretty pesky team. What are you expecting?
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to one of their coaches. We saw each other on the recruiting trail, and I think we start next season the same schedule they have this, where it's Ohio State, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Duluth, and you're playing top 5 teams in the country right off the bat. And so I think they're a top 15 team in the country. I really do. When you look at the results of this past weekend, they're not reflective of the results in the prior 2. I think they just kind of maybe are a little tired and got caught behind it. And obviously you give a lot of credit to Minnesota. They're certainly a team that has the depth at the offensive side of the puck that, one mistake and all of a sudden it snowballs. So I think Minnesota State's a tremendous team. They've got talent. They've got good goaltending. They're well organized and well coached. And so I expect a really tough matchup this week.
For your team, I see in goal, you've worked everybody in for at least 20 minutes. What are you seeing between the pipes and what do you expect going forward?
Yeah, I think, we've seen some ups and downs from everybody. Yeah, Saskia has played really, really well and probably been our most consistent. Maggie would probably like a word there to say, hey, all I did is play 20 minutes against Wisconsin and, gave up 1 goal. She played great, and Dobbs, I didn't think we played well in front of her when she got her chance at Wisconsin. So we fully expect to continue to rotate our goaltenders in starting this week, just because we feel like we've got really good depth at that position and are excited about the competition that they have in practice, but also their performances we expect over time will hopefully improve from a consistency point of view and be able to compete. That's why we were successful last year and were able to stay in close games against opponents that we were frankly, overmatched by. And we look forward to that same thing with all 3 of our goaltenders.
Home and home this weekend, is it?
Yeah, so we play Thursday at Mankato and then Friday here. So short week for prep. The nice part is then the players and staff get a nice little break, but yeah, it'll be a short week of preparation and trying to package a lot of things into getting ready to play Thursday. It's something that teams, WCHA isn't used to. I think it's becoming more of a trend to play some earlier week games when the schedules allow. So I'm excited to see what it looks like and be ready to go.
Sydney Sheeran has got a capacity forward for MSU. I know she's a former golfer. I'm assuming you coached her at one point.
I have, yeah. I coached Sid when she was on the U18 team with USA Hockey, and then obviously at Minnesota, and as luck would have it, we grew up. She played with my daughter when they were kids back in White Bear Lake. So I know Sid and her family well. She's an awesome person, and I think she's had great success after transferring, kind of getting a restart. And so it'll be fun to see her. I hope she doesn't play super well, but I wish her and her journey nothing but the best, because she's one of those people that does it for the right reason and plays the right way. And so I'm excited for her and all the success I hope she has.
Any questions from the Zoom?
Joel, you talked about puck possession after the game on Friday, how you guys better up. You guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
There we go. Yep.
All right. You talked about puck possession on Friday and how you guys had gotten better than that against Wisconsin. Do you feel like that was okay on Saturday? or was it not as much as you would hope?
I actually thought Saturday we were better offensively and with the puck than we were on Friday. We just didn't score. And so I didn't think defensively we were as sharp in any way at any position. But I thought offensively we actually played better on Saturday with the puck and generating really high quality scoring chances. But we just we couldn't solve their goaltender, and she played incredibly well, and sometimes that's what happens. But I was really impressed with our team on Saturday. I told them in the dressing room that I thought that was a better start, a better finish, other than the result.
Further questions? Great.
I mean, I've got one. You've got a very difficult job. Probably one of the hardest parts of that job is that you have more players on your roster that can play every weekend.
Yep.
Can you take us through the process of deciding who is going to make that active roster every weekend?
Yeah, it's the worst part of coaching is to identify, and say, here's our group this weekend, when that means you're going to leave somebody out. And, we're actually having individual player meetings this week, and telling everybody, as a coach, there's no magic. Sometimes you're not guessing, but you're at the same time, you're not always sure you're right. And I think that the older I've gotten in my coaching career, the more I'm able to admit, I don't know sometimes what I don't know. But we're using all of the data from practice effort and from comparative stuff and evaluations and games to say, here's what we think is the best approach for this weekend in this spot, based on injuries and based on sometimes weird things like academics. Hey, so-and-so needs to focus on that a little more, this and that. And so you come up with a plan, and you say, here's what we're going to do. And then if you win, you look smart. And if you don't, then there's 3 or 4 people in the stands who are disagreeing with you. But I think the thing that we have tried to be, and I've heard feedback from players, is the more transparent we are with our student athletes, the more they appreciate it. So that's the one thing that we've tried to be, is just say, here's why, here's what we're doing. And certainly, you hope in the second half of the season that you find some consistency and some predictability. But right now, with where our program's at, I'm okay with being a little bit uncomfortable and being unpredictable and having different players in the lineup each weekend, because I think that allows everybody a fair chance to say, hey, here's how I play. And that allows them to raise their hand and say, you can't not play me. And that's the encouragement we've given to our players, is put it on tape and give us a reason why we have to have you in the lineup every weekend. Some people think that's with the puck and scoring goals. A lot of times it's how they play without the puck. And so it's tough. It's the hardest part of the job. It's certainly not something I pretend to be perfect at, and will never be so. But we do our best to try to be transparent and authentic with our players, and hope that at the end of the day, they appreciate that.
Final questions, final thoughts, Coach?
Nope.
All right. Thank you, everyone.